evening, Commissioners, and good evening, members of the public. Just a few reminders. First, I'm David Juni. I'm the manager of the Social Services Division, and this meeting is being televised. So please, we just want to remind you to please be mindful if you come up and speak under public comment during the public hearing process, that you're careful to make sure if you share scenarios of individuals who've accessed services or experiences, that you're mindful to maintain their anonymity and their confidentiality. For members of the public who would like to come up and share their experience with accessing services or issues, just know it is being televised, and everything that you share does go out to the larger community. It goes out into the world. Just a reminder for applicants of currently funded agencies, that city staff and council really do know that you appreciate their ongoing support of your services. If that's the one thing that you want to convey under public comment, then I might suggest that you give that time to someone else who has other things. So please, council knows that you appreciate their support, and thank you for always sharing that. Real-time captioning is available here at the monitor, as this is a televised meeting, so folks who need to access that, who may be deaf or hearing impaired, you can come and sit in this area and view the real-time captioning. And finally, parking validations are available for folks who park in the 5-story public lot right next door, and the validation machine is right next to the entrance if you come in. And finally, actually, one last thing. For members of the public who are viewing this, or will be viewing this televised, the staff report and the staff recommendations are accessible if you go onto the city's website, www.weho.org, and click onto the Human Services Commission, and then you can access the current agenda and packet. And that's it. Thank you.
Anything? Okay. I would just like to address the public if you have public comment on any topic, it would be under 1E. If you're here to speak at the public hearing, it would be 3A. So I just want to remind everyone, if you put your slip in and there might be some confusion, you can certainly change it. All right, public comment. I have one slip. Michael Vojkolevich. The button on the bottom. A little button on the bottom there. Yeah.
Michael Vojkolevich, City of West Hollywood. I actually brought my flashlight, my own flashlight, this evening because if there was ever evidence of architectural design failing on a grand enough scale by means of not serving its intended purposes, it was both demonstrated and punctuated at the very last meeting of this Human Services Commission occurring on June 28th. In less than 60 minutes, this $60+ million facility once again gave truth to many of its shortcomings, which not only showed a gross disservice to those of you upon the dais, but to those of us in the public, as well as to the many in between who were the actual service representatives that we were all here to hear in order to fully listen to their important presentations. And of course, I remind you of this with respect to another building that failed its demographic that it was supposed to serve on many levels. And I say this also with an additional reminder of a social service network worth $4+ million that sometimes falls short in helping the broader and diverse West Hollywood community. So in the time that remains, I actually want to extend a very belated thank you to former social services head Craig Rea. When I first found myself walking into City Hall back in 2008, in need of a little assistance, a little advice, a little guidance for the very first time in my life, Craig Rea had the honesty to state the following: unfortunately, you're not HIV positive.
Thank you. Steve Martin.
Steve Martin, West Hollywood. Just want to thank you in advance for all your hard work. I know you get your work cut out for you tonight. I don't know if any of you saw the article in the LA Times about the homeless guy that was hanging out at Earth Cafe in Beverly Hills, and there were some very interesting comments in the press, in the Times, that talked about how Beverly Hills has cut their homeless in half, and then I guess just sort of to stick it to us, mentioned that West Hollywood's numbers have gone up by 50%. There's seems to be some evidence, including sort of defensive sort of rhetoric in the Beverly Hills Courier, that makes it look like Beverly Hills may be chasing people aggressively chasing homeless people out of their jurisdiction, and many of them may be winding up in West Hollywood. And I think that we really need to address that. It's of a concern that if their numbers really have gone down by half, and it's through a compassionate program, then maybe we should be learning something from them. But if our numbers have gone up and theirs have gone down, and it's just because of an aggressive ambassador program, is what they're calling it, I think we have some serious issues to talk about. Also, just lastly, I would point out there's a bus bench up on La Cienega in Santa Monica that talks about the need to check out your HIV meds because of the ill effects, the side effects that they can have on them. But also, I noticed that we're spending a lot of money on PrEP, and they seem to be, we're sending out two different messages, because obviously when you're asking people in their early 20s to take some rather harsh medicines, there may be some implications that they're not being told about. So anyway, thank you for indulging me.
Thank you. There are no items on the consent calendar. I just want to let the members of the public know, when your name is called, once the public hearing is open, you will have 3 minutes to speak. You'll hear a beep at 2 minutes, and you'll have a minute to wrap it up. And is there any, there's no more public comment, so I will now, I'm sorry? There's no more public comment. I'll open the public hearing and defer to staff. I believe Elizabeth is starting.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Elizabeth Savage, Director of Human Services and Rent Stabilization. Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. It is evening. The city's commitment to ensure vital services over 30 years has been by funding with general fund dollars a strong amount of social services support for the provision and care of the West Hollywood community. This year, the city allocated $4.5 million in the fiscal year 2016 to 17 for social services, and this year's city budget, the City Council wanted to include initiatives specifically supporting vulnerable communities. There's a section in the budget on that. And that's all to say that the guiding policy and principles here have been of an enormous commitment. It is very tough to balance resources with the need for services. How much is enough? What will help? What will make a difference? Staff and the Commission have both worked very hard to review the proposals this year and dug in with those kinds of questions, as well as an evaluation of a baseline of services and what additional gaps or augmentations might be needed. We will continue to do our best on that, but I also want to make sure to thank everyone who's here tonight, and for all those who have submitted proposals. That's a lot of work as well. You're very important partners to us in this process. The analysis and recommendations that you'll hear about tonight are based on serving the most vulnerable and fragile community needs and community members. The greatest good needs to go for those with the greatest need. That is a difficult thing to sort out. The RFP process is informed through multiple elements in an ongoing manner. We have an illustration here that there are a variety of components that we have considered and that you have considered as a commission: community input, community study, planning and coordination meetings, the commission meetings themselves, the public hearing processes, the performance of contracted agencies, and so on. The RFP process document calls for, and next slide please, calls for responses to the City Council initiatives and special reports. Some of those are talked about in this budget document and in the division's work plan and in the department's work plan. The Aging in Place, Aging in Community project is a 5-year strategic plan to support city residents and community members to live in their own homes and communities safely as long as possible. That has been a factor in what responses we've had today and in the city's priorities over the next 5 years. There is an HIV zero transmission initiative. The city is developing a plan to raise awareness and provide access to transmission prevention resources, including prophylactic medications and services to address HIV cofactors. That has been a component of what agencies responded to in this process. Importantly, mental health support, another initiative, again, discussed in the city budget as a driving document, as well as those other components that we plan to increase street-based mental health services, to expand cultural and clinical appropriate engagement, assessment, and treatment for individuals homeless in West Hollywood. And then a report on homeless services. This commission over the last 2 years has done an enormous work in understanding the changes in funding and direction for the region's homeless services, as has the City Council. And the initiative here is to strengthen programs and develop ways in which the city can assist service providers in adjusting to those changes in homeless services and government funding. And it includes additional transitional housing services, that is shelter. So that's a recap of some of the approaches. I will now turn this over to David Juni, Social Services Manager, who will present recommendations and give an overview of the remainder of the funding process. But I do want to take a minute to thank this commission for its hard work and staff as well. You should see what they have gone through to serve this community, and it's done with great heartfelt care. So I want to just extend my appreciation to you all on that.
Once again, good evening, commissioners, and good evening, members of the public. My report is going to cover just a brief overview of the RFP, the request for proposal process. Recommendations, I'm going to give you detailed recommendations from staff for new programs and or program enhancements. I'll go over recommendations for additional funding and then the next steps in this process. So bear with me, it's detailed and it'll go for a little bit. So just to bring you up to date, the request for proposal was issued on May 4th, 2016, and the city received 41 proposals by the due date of June 8th, 2016. 13 new applicants submitted proposals, and 1 current service provider, People Assisting the Homeless, PATH, did not reapply for funding. Staff and the Human Services Commission reviewed the proposals, and staff conducted site visits with all of the new applicants. The Human Services Commission held an RFP subcommittee meeting and a special meeting of the full commission in order to provide additional opportunities to discuss and share information. The Human Services Commission asked questions of the applicants at a meeting on June 28th, 2016, that we all will remember. Staff then completed its recommendations and prepared this report, which has been provided to the Commission and Council and each of the applicants. Staff also discussed the recommendations with the applicants. All applicants have been encouraged to attend tonight's public hearing, which will open following this report. So the next section is our recommendations, staff's recommendations for new programs and or, as I mentioned, program enhancements. So I'm going to go through, you'll have it in front of you also. Just a reminder, as Elizabeth mentioned, the allocation for social services contracts to start in the 2016-17 contract year in October is a total of $4,512,324. That reflects an approximate, what we consider 2%, well, it is a 2% increase over the current funding amount. The increase, the 2%, is frequently allocated to currently contracted agencies as what we refer to as a cost of living adjustment, a COLA. Staff unfortunately did not include in its recommendations a COLA for the currently funded agencies. Instead, the additional funds were applied to new or enhanced programming. Social services staff collectively created the funding recommendations, evaluating applications comparatively and as a component of an overall continuum of services available to our West Hollywood community members. Staff considered the following points in the development of these recommendations: current community need and responsiveness to the recommendations highlighted in the RFP, appropriateness of program design and budget request, demonstrated awareness of the total funding available, applicant knowledge of the target population in West Hollywood, knowledge of and approach to collaboration with other West Hollywood service providers, applicant capability and capacity, and, if currently funded, applicant's current and past performance, an increase or decrease of service over last year, if currently funded, and funding source variety and proposed matching funds to support the request from the city. Staff recommends the following enhanced and new programs for the 2016-17 grant period. And I'll pull them up and I will go through these individually. So once again, I'm going to review the new, what we're proposing for new programs and or enhanced. For Aid for AIDS, the Alliance for Housing and Healing, new housing support and case management services for people living with HIV and AIDS in order to prevent homelessness and to assist the community's long-term survivors with HIV to age in place. Being Alive, increase in funding for a clinical supervisor to oversee master's level clinical interns providing individual and group therapy to community members living with HIV and AIDS. Vetsetic Legal Services, dedicated funding to cover a percentage of an attorney to assist community members with transgender-focused legal issues. Jewish Family Services, the Comprehensive Services Center. New case, thank you. Thank you. New case management, service coordination, and navigation for seniors living in housing and urban development HUD buildings in West Hollywood, and for wraparound case management services targeting seniors facing eviction or otherwise at risk for homelessness. The LA LGBT Center's mental health services, new outreach specialists dedicated solely to West Hollywood with the goal of connecting the community, homeless and lesbian bisexual women as priority populations, to needed social services. Also, the Center's services for homeless youth, additional support for case management services with the availability of urgent funds to provide emergency assistance to LGBT homeless youth when needs arise that are not covered through other support services. National Council of Jewish Women, their youth educational program and services, new funding for the Back to School store to provide school-age children in need with brand new clothing, shoes, and school supplies. Pathways, increase in funding to partially cover the cost of a mental health consultant who will administer early developmental screenings. Project Angel Food, increased funding to cover the cost of additional meals for West Hollywood participants who receive home-delivered meals and continue to experience food insecurity. Essentia, new dedicated outreach team focused on bringing West Hollywood homeless community members into service. Availability of up to 10 year-round shelter beds. Men's Health Foundation increases the availability of PrEP and PEP services through their red carpet treatment program, which has the capacity to offer same-day PrEP and PEP to high-risk MSM, men who have sex with men, and transgender women. Planned Parenthood, increased access to medical care for low-income community members. In addition to the PrEP and PEP services proposed, community members will have access to integrated services, including family planning, reproductive health, and HIV, STI testing and treatment. Westside Center for Independent Living, new programming to support disabled and senior community members to remain in their place of residence through the Housing Assistance Program and to gain maximum access to the surrounding community through the Independent Living Services Program. It's staff's role to provide commission and council with a full and accurate picture of needed services and their actual costs. In fulfilling that role, staff made recommendations for social services contracts in the allocated budget amount of $4,512,324. In responding to community feedback and council initiatives, as well as the actual cost of service delivery, staff has brought forth an additional recommendation for $407,000 additional dollars to cover the projected cost of substance abuse treatment based on actual expenditures in this last contract year, and an additional $230,114 to enter into a contract with Step Up on Second for the multidisciplinary integrated team to reach and serve the city's chronically mentally ill homeless community members. Finally, I'll wrap up my report with the next steps. The Human Services Commission will make its recommendations on July 19th, 2016, so a week from tonight, and staff and the commission will prepare recommendations for the City Council meeting on September 19th, 2016. So these are staff's recommendations this evening that we are looking forward to hearing feedback from the public. Commission comes back, Human Services comes back next Wednesday, and if there are things that they would like to see a little bit differently, that's the time when they make those recommendations. The council, at that September 19th meeting, if all goes well, the council will approve one-year contracts, renewable for 2 years on an annual basis. So we only do 1 year at a time, even though it's a 3-year funding cycle. We make recommendations tonight for the first year of that cycle, and then we do have to come back to council each year to renew. That renewal is contingent upon program performance, continued community need for the program, and availability of city funds. And that concludes staff's report.
Once again, I'm going to open the public hearing, and if you have something to say on 3A, please feel free. 3 minutes with a speaker slip. If it's general public comment, please at this point wait until item number 7. Thank you. What? What? Well, just a reminder, we truly hear you, we just cannot talk to you, we can't engage in conversation back and forth, it's illegal. So we just will be listening to you. Tonight is your time to talk. The first person will be Pamela Gabori.
Hi, good evening. My name is Pamela Gabori, and I'm the Director of Institutional Giving at Planned Parenthood Los Angeles. I know you asked us not to, but I can't help but express how grateful we are that our proposal has been recommended for funding. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity to give you a little bit more information about our programs as well as our priority populations that may not have been fully addressed in our proposal. Since we opened our center here in the West Hollywood community, we've received an outpouring of support. You've been warm, you've been welcoming, especially during this very challenging year for our organization. We are excited to be a part of this community, and we hope that every individual that comes through our doors for reproductive health services and education feels welcome and receives the judgment-free, compassionate care that Planned Parenthood stands for. Planned Parenthood has a proven track record at reaching low-income populations in this community, particularly women and those who live at or below the federal poverty level. We are experts in reaching the underserved and the hard to reach, those who speak little to no English, those who are uninsured and underinsured, and those who simply can't afford basic healthcare services anywhere else. Our services are a point of entry into this healthcare system, and for many of our patients, we provide the only healthcare they receive. And while our services are available and open to everyone who needs them, we're proud to be one of the few organizations in this community whose priority population is women. are women. And while our proposal centered around HIV and STI testing and West Hollywood's Zero Transmission HIV Initiative, we believe that these services are most effective when they're integrated into our comprehensive reproductive health services and our education services. We offer a wide range of health services, including pap smears, well woman exams, breast and testicular exams, pregnancy testing and all options counseling, birth control options, medication and surgical abortion services, and later this year, we'll begin offering prenatal care for expecting mothers through their second trimester. As you know from our proposal, we are also beginning to provide PEP and PrEP, and we believe that we are well positioned to provide these services for at-risk women. As demographics change and community needs evolved, so does Planned Parenthood. We work tirelessly to improve our cultural competence so that we can provide the same non-judgmental, compassionate care to every individual who walks through our door, regardless of income, race, sexuality, religion, or gender identity. Some of these efforts are including a new electronic medical record system to better capture information about our gender nonconforming patients. And we're participating in focus groups to better serve the needs of our gay, lesbian, and transgender populations. We're excited about the future of what PPLA health centers have to offer, and we are thankful for this opportunity to speak tonight. Thank you.
The next speaker will be Emily Wasson from Planned Parenthood.
Hi, my name is Emily Wasson, and I currently work in fundraising at Planned Parenthood Los Angeles. Most of my coworkers joke that I'm a walking Planned Parenthood billboard, which, upon reflection, is pretty accurate. I was first exposed to Planned Parenthood when volunteers from PPLA came into my middle school classroom to teach my class about puberty, self-esteem, and making responsible decisions. I remember listening to our instructor and feeling like I could trust her. She was friendly, knowledgeable, and answered all the questions I had that I wouldn't have felt comfortable asking other adults in my life. I would go home after her class and look at the Planned Parenthood website to learn more about what she had taught us. From that point on, I was hooked. I told all of my classmates that I wanted to grow up to be one of the people that went into classrooms to teach students about safe sex, and that's exactly what I did. In the coming years, I became a regular patient at Planned Parenthood health centers in Hollywood and Santa Monica, a volunteer, a sex education instructor, the president of the Planned Parenthood Young Professionals Group, and when I went back to graduate school and had to cut back hours at work, a part-time member of the PPLA call center staff. After graduating, I was fortunate enough to be brought on full-time in the development department, where I'm able to use my wide range of experiences as a PPLA staff member, volunteer, patient, and supporter to talk to our supporters about what PPLA has meant to me. For me, PPLA isn't a typical health care provider. PPLA has built a culture where our employees are compassionate advocates for the patients and students and active community members that they serve, and are proud to represent an organization that provides critical reproductive health services and education to everyone in our community, no matter what. As a nervous 16-year-old walking into a Planned Parenthood health center, alone in a doctor's office for the first time in my life, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. What I found were warm, friendly doctors and staff that didn't judge me or make me feel embarrassed about being there. They were smart and willing to take the time to talk to me about what I needed, walk me through different birth control options, and answer all of my questions. As someone who has experienced all that PPLA has to offer as a patient, student, teacher, and employee, I'm grateful to the City of West Hollywood for recognizing the value in the services that PPLA has to offer your city.
Thank you. Next speaker will be Yolo Dure.
Good evening, commissioners, staff, and guests. Yola Dore, West Hollywood. Aging in place can be very difficult when you live with cancer and the possible loss of sight. Many agencies here have been part of the team that sustained me and helped me along the way, because actually simple tasks that we think of and do each day became very difficult. I have great thanks and praise for the people at Jewish Family Service Center, the Senior Center, and I think it's now called Comprehensive Service Center in our Plummer Park. They were my team leader, if you might say it, like a team captain. They coordinated my services and helped me find which way to go. They helped me go to the doctor and helped me get transportation and how to better understand what I could do living with this. They helped me get to an agency called Bet Sedek. Bet Sedek helped me get my papers in place and plan that advance directive and get my house in order, if you will. And then there was Project Chicken Soup. They are the most incredible people. They took time not only to nourish my body, but my soul. They serve the most fabulous fresh food, and they bring it to your door. But they go a step beyond that. They call you to see if you're okay. And if you need that extra service that maybe they don't offer, because as Catherine, the head of the agency, said, they have many services that they have hooked into theirs. And then there was the founder of that organization, a woman named Molly, who was recently lost. Then along my trail of agencies, St. Thomas, the Episcopal Church, who offered me up in prayer, called to check on me, sent people to my front door. I can't begin to tell you the incredible people on your list today. I can only tell you from the bottom of my heart how much I thank them and hope that you will fund each and every one of them to the maximum amount they've requested. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Fred Summers. Thank you. The next speaker will be Darnell Green.
Good evening. I am Darnell Green, Health Education and Prevention Services Manager with the LA LGBT Center. I just wanted to say that online portals have become instrumental in the dissemination of health information to the MSM community in West Hollywood and throughout the world. Accessing vital healthcare information via social media and online websites eliminates barriers to healthcare. If we look at the social determinants of healthcare, we know that in order to virally suppress a community, we have to eliminate as many barriers to services and healthcare information as possible. We would like to petition for further funding so that we can expand our reach, expand our reach in the city of West Hollywood to those who live, work, and play in the city of West Hollywood, but also to be able to set an example throughout the world of how we can eliminate new transmission by 2017 in the city of West Hollywood. I thank you all for considering us, and I thank you all for being so instrumental in the success of the WehoLife program. And we look forward to working with you all in this coming up year. So thank you so much.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Barbara Bloom from Step Up.
Good evening. Excuse me, Barbara Bloom from Step Up. And first of all, I want to thank you for our last marathon that we all spent quite a long time at, and appreciate you listening to our proposal. And that I want to say that we support the recommendation for specialized funding for Step Up to come into West Hollywood as a new provider and try to solve homelessness in the city. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I may not have mentioned, but when you do come up, please mention state your name and the organization you're from if you're from one of our providers. The next name is Gwenter Kwinecki.
Good evening, Commissioners. I would like to thank the City of West Hollywood and the Jewish Family Services for funding an invaluable service that the Jewish Family Service provides for the frail and homebound residents of West Hollywood. In the discussion of this topic, one should not forget that we are talking about hundreds of American citizens, disabled elderly people, very often not competent in the English language. For them, the importance of maintaining the program of assistance in solving their social problems is not in doubt. 140 apartments in our building of 838 West Newell Drive are populated by elderly people. Many of them are lonely and suffer from various diseases due to which they are unable to seek the help of social workers outside the building, for example, at Plummer Park Service Center office. In addition, not all of them speak and understand English to the extent to understand the contents of numerous official, financial, and medical documents received by mail or to fill out numerous forms. Being deaf, they are not capable of responding to telephone notices and warnings. In the absence of any help, people are at risk not to respond in time for particular notifications so that they may lose certain benefits or execute in time important appointments and other requirements. It is no secret that some of the procedures that were previously simple enough became now considerably complicated. For example, much more complicated is now the procedure of reservations for medical transportation. Without help of a qualified and perfectly English-speaking social worker, it's particularly impossible. The service coordinator helps the residents receive and maintain their benefits, communicates and coordinates services with other agencies, provides necessary information and referrals to nutrition services, healthcare providers, phone companies, banks, etc. For some residents, the Jewish Family Service has helped to receive the Lifeline Medic Alert System and free safe return bracelets for those that are suffering from Alzheimer's disease. It is necessary to add that the person deprived of the opportunity to receive explanations on easy fall prey to sorts of phone scams, identity thieves, and other criminals. Especially clearly is a need of the operative help of a social worker to the residents revealed itself during the forced evacuation of all people from their apartments in July and September 2015, when the apartment hit by heavy rains. Many disabled aged people were provided with individual, physical, and legal assistance, which facilitated the painful process of evacuation and accommodation outside the usual conditions, as well as receiving the financial assistance.
Sir, we need to cut
opinion,
Sir, your time is up.
The program enabled the residents of our building to receive the assistance of a social worker directly at the place of residence must certainly be continued.
Thank you.
Thank you. I ran over time, I know. I apologize. But I get the message across.
Oh, boy. The next speaker, Desi Dixon? Pat Dixon. Who wrote that?
Hi, my name is Pat Dixon. I live in West Hollywood, and I am a member of the Senior Advisory Board of West Hollywood. And I'm just here to support, to ask you to continue your support of the Jewish Family Services Comprehensive Center. They have a lot of things going on all the time. They have trips to museums and to parks. They have lectures. They have wellness classes. They have, what's that thing where you go like this, Tai Chi. They have, everything like that. And it's really, it serves a great purpose for the, for the seniors of West Hollywood. And I'm just here to, offer my support and ask you to continue. I think you do a great job. I couldn't believe what I read in here, all the decisions you have to make. but I hope you keep Jewish Family Services going. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Rachel Donaldson. Am I doing Tai Chi now? Yeah.
Hi, good evening. Rachel Donaldson, the Director of Community Mental Health and Supportive Services at the National Council of Jewish Women. I'm just here to thank all of you for all your hard work and the meeting that we all shared last time and the long hours you put into all of your recommendations. Our funding was cut, but we completely understand. We do offer phenomenal services to the community through our mental health program, infiltrating a lot of schools to provide services to West Hollywood, and we're really looking forward to continuing our rental assistance program and also expanding the community psychiatry resource program for next cycle. So while it's down this year, we're really confident that we're going to be able to reach more West Hollywood residents through our collaborative that we're creating. So I thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you. Next is Catherine Friedman, Project Chicken Soup.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Catherine Friedman, Executive Director of Project Chicken Soup. PCS has been preparing and delivering free, fresh, nutritious meals to residents in West Hollywood living with HIV and AIDS since 1989. We expanded our target population in 2011 to include people living with other illnesses that prevent them from preparing their own meals. We've provided these services for 27 years without funding support from the city. 25% of our clients are West Hollywood residents. I've been with PCS for 13 years. This is the third time we've applied for funding, and the third time that staff has recommended not funding us. To be honest, I didn't plan to apply for funding this time. Being the sole staff of the agency and considering the time investment in this RFP process and the history of being turned down twice, I was hesitant to jump in again. I was encouraged to do so by several of our West Hollywood clients, and when I reviewed the RFP and the city's initiatives, including Aging in Place, and the initiative to increase food and nutrition services, I was optimistic that this time it would be different. How could it not be different? So the background analysis text in the staff's report states, the funded programs are designed to serve those most vulnerable and most in need with essentials such as food and shelter. As I just said, we've been doing this in West Hollywood for 27 years, serving all members of WeHo's identified priority target populations. We're a perfect match for the Aging in Place initiative. Our hot, freshly prepared, and delicious home-delivered meals support residents aging in place in the WeHo community and assist them in maintaining their independence, prevent isolation, and promote wellness. We're unique in a few ways. One was already discussed by a community member that we have served. We do call clients twice a month, 10 days prior to every cooking. It used to be done by Molly Pierre, who was a co-founder, and we just lost her in April. So she was the surrogate grandmother who talked to every single client twice a month, and they look forward to her calls. Immensely. So I'm taking that role over now. I will never fill Molly Pierre's shoes, but I am somebody that all of the clients know because I enrolled them and I do touch base with them periodically. So fortunately, I'm going to continue that twice a month calling. In the process of talking with them, we often learn or clients will reveal other problems. Is that two?
One
okay.
more minute.
So that speaks to regular points of contact, which matches staff text, broaden and diversify points of entry to mental health services, support the provision of case management services. I do a lot of referrals. So I distributed some papers that hopefully you have, But the staff recommendation to increase funding of one of the current providers does not, in fact, meet the need of many West Hollywood residents who are not eligible for that program or do not choose that program. There are lots of choices for other services that are provided by contracts in West Hollywood, and it seems that Project Chicken Soup should be another choice for food services. So thank you. I hope staff reconsiders. I hope Human Services Commission makes a recommendation to fund us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Marina Berkman.
Good evening, commissioners. Good evening, staff. We wanted to thank the city for their recommendations, and West Hollywood Comprehensive Service Center, Jewish Family Service, is very proud to provide services to the community members in need, always. GFS based its proposal on the priorities identified by the City Council and staff. An Aging in Place initiative and other priorities have been our guiding force and guiding principle for us when we made our proposals. We wanted to demonstrate that we are always willing to meet the challenges and to be very creative, go outside of the box, and go along with the city's ideas and recommendations and priorities. The center will continue providing the services on the same very high professional level as we have always done. And we will use our experience in working with mentally ill people to provide new, recommended by the staff, wraparound service and the service coordination in the hot buildings. And I just want to give you two little examples. Just when I was coming here, I received information that one of our clients passed the inspection and won't be evicted from her place of residence, which is great achievement. This person has physical disabilities and she suffers from hoarding disorder, which is, as you know, it's a diagnosable disorder. This disorder creates barriers in service delivery, and it took enormous amount of work of our social worker to convince this person to allow cleaning. It took numerous meetings with that person, but finally, after she failed 2 inspections, the 3rd one she passed. We provided cleaning services funded by the city, and that's great achievement. One homeless person is not there on the streets. That person will age in place and will continue living safely. Another little example, a woman came to us because her Social Security benefits were stopped. Social Security made a mistake. They canceled her benefits instead of her deceased husband. To prove the fact that she is still alive took 2 months' work of our social worker. Endless meetings, phone calls, coordination of services, letters, you name it. But we managed to solve the problem, and the person is getting back her benefits. Thank you very much for continued support. We are there to help West Hollywood residents.
Thank you very much. Jeff Bailey.
Good evening, Jeff Bailey, Director of Client Services at AIDS Project Los Angeles. I too would like to thank you for your recommendations. However, I would also request that staff go back and reassess the West Hollywood Community Support Program that includes the Benefit Specialty and Case Management Program with the Adjunct Nutrition Education Program. In addressing some of the initiatives in West Hollywood, particularly Aging in Place of the Zero Initiative, Zero Transmission Initiative, back in March, AIDS Project Los Angeles and Being Alive hosted a forum addressing HIV and aging, of which 133 community members attended. Looking at the report, one of the main things that the people talked about that they felt that they needed more assistance with what they called thriving and really aging gracefully is really more information about nutrition and how to manage their nutrition with their comorbidities. In particularly with recent research about the efficacy of probiotics, they were very interested in how that they can incorporate that into their regimen. Moreover, in looking at APLA's history of providing nutrition education, this year marks the 30th anniversary of our Advanced North Necessity of Life program. And looking at this new RFP, we were looking at this as an opportunity to reinvigorate our service model, and with providing the provision of nutrition education, expanding on-site delivery of groceries at our West Hollywood location, given the closure of one of the food pantries. So I would just like you to take that into consideration as you go back and look at your recommendations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gary Bowie, Being Alive.
Good evening, Commissioners and City staff. My name is Gary Bowie with Being Alive. We're looking at the recommendations from City staff, and we're a little bit taken aback by it. I know that there's only so much in the pool to go around for these great agencies here, but I just want to go over a little bit about what Being Alive is today as opposed to what it may have been in the past years. Since my arrival in the past 2 years, we have transformed Being Alive to really be a comprehensive mental health, wellness, and case management agency. All of our issues that we currently address are the 4 priorities that the city is focusing on: homelessness, aging in place, zero transmission, and the mental health components. So we're the last of the original agencies that are headquartered here as an HIV agency, not a satellite. I'm not talking about satellite offices. I'm talking about actually founded in 1986 here in West Hollywood and still exist here. And even though the rents have been going up, it's been a challenge. So kind of think of us as a hub and spoke agency. We work with 100 agencies to deliver services, remove barriers to care, including some of the mental health components of that. We use the what we call the psychodynamic affirmative LGBT mental health as opposed to the CBT model, which just does not work for people with HIV. I know it's a growing trend with agencies who do mental health, but CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, does not work for people who are suffering from PTSD, trauma, and the various issues. This year, Being Alive is also ADAP certified. We're going through training on August 10th. So we will be an open site, which means anybody can come in. You do not have to be a member of Being Alive. We're going to be one that's here in West Hollywood. We're also working to become, shortly, we'll be a CES, a coordinated entry system. Currently, when we have homeless people who need services, we have to send them to St. Bartholomew. Now it'll be able to be done at Being Alive. And later this year, we will have Obamacare or ACA on board, and the beginning of next year, the HIV testing. So the things we're looking at in the funding, we are really going beyond a monolithic view of what Being Alive may be seen as. We're really a whole new Being Alive for our 30th anniversary. On December 1, the salaries for exempt employees goes up by federal mandate. And unfortunately, this increase that we're looking at doesn't even take that into consideration: benefits, taxes, rent increases, insurance, et cetera, et cetera. So those are the things we're really concerned with. This increase is actually tantamount to a decrease, to be quite honest. And it was a little bit of a jolt to us when I saw that, considering that we'll be delivering a lot more services, including 5,000 sessions in mental health this year, which is a 50% increase over 2 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Simon Costello, Los Angeles LGBT Center.
Good evening, Commissioners and staff. I'm Simon Costello, Director of Homeless Youth Services at the Los Angeles LGBT Center. First of all, it's great to be here, and thanking staff for their recommendations. We've been working with the West Hollywood Social Services now for many, many years, and they've been great supporters of our program. And I've stood at this podium many, many times. So this time is the first time, and it's a little bit difficult for me to say, we're a little bit disappointed with the recommendations. And it would be remiss of me if I didn't advocate for services for homeless LGBT youth and support for those services. So over the last 3 years in the contract, I believe we built a really robust program serving homeless LGBT youth here in West Hollywood. We also looked at the new RFP, and we built in what we believe was added service to address 2 of the new initiatives in that RFP. And right now we're providing outreach 7 days a week in West Hollywood. We serve about 168 homeless youth, LGBT youth from West Hollywood. We provide employment services to 48 of them, housing to 20 of them, and 1,800 bed nights, like 1,800 bed nights. So if you multiply that by 50 or 100, that's a lot of money. So we asked for an increase in funding, which we thought would bring us some way towards addressing the services that we were providing, and the staff have recommended a small increase for us, and we do appreciate that, and we love working with the staff, and I certainly want to continue. We certainly want to continue, and we will continue, and we're very supportive of that. But I do think that the amount of funding allocated for us proportionately is out of line with the amount of services, the amount of youth that we serve, the amount of bed nights we provide, the amount of housing we provide. So I do respectfully ask that as we move forward in this process, that we can develop a program for LGBT homeless youth, and we can develop a funding stream that sort of meets that need. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brian Risley, Men's Health Foundation.
Good evening, commissioners and staff. I'm Brian Risley. I'm Director of Programs and Education for the Men's Health Foundation. Our Executive Director, Dr. Tony Mills, is out of town and wants to send his best regards. We're grateful for funding recommendation as a new social service provider to help meet the important HIV Zero initiative. The Men's Health Foundation has a long history of providing prevention and health care to the LGBT population of West Hollywood, and we're enthusiastic to fulfill any contractual obligations. The social service staff recommendation is for reduced funding for our proposal to provide the innovation of same-day PEP and PrEP to persons at risk for HIV, and our goal to significantly reduce waiting periods for preventative medication and thereby reduce new HIV infections. We understand this recommendation and the thought that has been put into it, but feel that reduced funding will adversely impact the staff time and resources that could be dedicated to this innovation and the proposed scope of work. Whatever the final decision is, we remain committed to zero new HIV transmissions in this city and in greater Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you. Jack, Lauren or Lorena, Aid for AIDS.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jack Lorenz from the Aid for AIDS, or Alliance for Housing and Healing. I want to thank you all very much for the hard work that you put into reviewing our proposal, and I have a request to increase the amount that we were given by $8,561. We worked really, really hard to stay in West Hollywood. As you all know, it took us close to 7 months to find new offices, which we are actually moving into tomorrow. And we were able to get HOPWA to cover the entire cost of the offices here in West Hollywood. We're not asking for any rent from the city to cover the cost of those offices. And I have found another funder who will come up with the other $24,000 that was not funded to us, so we can fully fund the employee that was dedicated to the city of West Hollywood. So what I'm asking for is that if you come up with 1/3, I'll come up with or the agency will come up with the other 2/3, so that we can fully fund that person. Now, in addition to that person, there are still going to be 9 other staff people in this new office that will be able to provide backup services to this one individual dedicated employee. In addition, we also increased the amount of rent subsidies that we were giving people by $50 and $100 a month for families, because it's been completely unrealistic for a while now to provide the modest subsidies that we've been giving. So in addition to the dedicated employee, the increased subsidies required us to ask for more money, so I'd be incredibly grateful if you'd consider that $8,561 increase. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next speaker is Graciela Eperguer.
Graciela Iparraguirre, West Hollywood resident. I'd like to speak regarding SOBA Food Pantry and Resource Center. SOBA has consistently and for a long time provided West Hollywood residents and homeless from West Hollywood and other clients with caring, excellent service. SOBA provides about food for an average of 120 persons per day at the center. Our resident senior and disabled population keeps growing. Our homeless population has doubled from last year. Due to relentless rent increases and push from gentrification in West Hollywood, SOBA had to move out of our city and consolidate services with their Pico Robertson Center. Many seniors are frail or disabled, use canes or walkers. Some bus drivers will even refuse to have shopping carts in the bus. There is also the issue of time, autonomy, and of money. Each MTA trip is $1.75. The blue bus is 50 cents. We need this source of the most basic need, which is food, to remain in West Hollywood, because this creates a hardship for clients, as several buses will be needed to go and come back from the new location. Maybe it is time to bring rental stabilization to commercial properties. In the meantime, I ask the Commission to redouble their efforts to bring SOBA back to West Hollywood. I am sure other locations could be considered. For example, the Crescent Heights Methodist Church on Fountain at Fairfax, or the French Market, or the former EDD offices on Santa Monica just east of Highland. Maybe the city could buy the property on La Brea near Santa Monica, where SOBA used to operate, or buy other property to be operated by SOBA. Please help the SOBA clients by keeping the SOBA food pantry in West Hollywood or close to West Hollywood. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph Warren, St. Thomas the Apostle.
Joseph Warren, St. Thomas the Apostle. I adore Corey. She's put up with me for several years, and it's hard being on the opposite side on this. But I have to admit, when I received the email last Thursday with staff recommendations, I felt that I had been punched in the gut. After spending the better part of several months working closely with staff and politically fighting in my own organization to create this collaboration with SOBA, and working so closely with staff for the past 10 years in general, I took it personally, and I was really angry. But I have to put that aside, because tonight I have to work for the faceless, voiceless, homeless children of God. Our numbers in the previous reported quarter were down. As I mentioned in the narrative of that report, we were taking measures to get those numbers back up. Parishioners were giving cards that have the dates of our services along with the address and a promise for a free meal and social services. This past quarter, which we will be reporting on this coming week, our West Hollywood numbers are back to normal as predicted. We haven't fully made up for the previous quarter, but we're still working on it. It's also important to note that in our proposal, we didn't cut one single client in our Exhibit A. We briefly discussed the health fair at our last meeting. We have a health fair scheduled in October, and we're presently sorting through around 50 vendors who want to participate. We're striving to use local-only vendors. At the past fair, we had agents signing people up for Covered California, free flu shots. The American Heart Association gave a seminar on heart health. There was a mental health presentation. The AIDS Health Foundation was there giving free HIV screenings. This year we're doing that. We also have access to the rapid testing. We have a sexual health seminar. We're currently in talks with the Temple Israel of Hollywood for a collaboration on a healthy eating seminar. And something I'm really excited about, not that I'm not excited about a healthy eating seminar, but there's going to be somebody there to give eye exams and give away free glasses. And for those of us that require glasses, imagining the blurry vision every day and then imagining seeing clearly for the first time in years, that's incredible. And we're also trying to move that up in September, so there are 2 opportunities for that. I hope you can see what I see, that our community program is very much alive and adapting. And I hope you don't give in to the despair of this program is dwindling, but they've been here a long time. A few years ago in a room adjacent to the library, I'm going to mess up his name here, Mark Zangrando, said something that's always stuck with me. Deep down, we all want one thing, and that's to do good. And that is our common bond. And whatever happens, win, lose, or draw, we believe that at St. Thomas, we are all doing that. I request that you recommend our full funding. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Diane Schneider, Nutrition Program.
I'm Diane Schneider, Food and Nutrition Director for Jewish Family Service. First, I want to thank West Hollywood Social Services for extending our nutrition program contract. I've enjoyed working with you all for the last 6 years and looking forward to continuing. I'm also looking forward to achieving my program goals as outlined in my narrative. Just to mention a few, I'm going to be adding soon holiday decorations, probably in November, and music at our 2 large sites, and continued and more intense outreach and nutrition education so that I can reach those in need of improved nutrition in West Hollywood, both the homebound and in residents of West Hollywood and others in need at the 4 congregate sites. So, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, no. Anastasia Balgalupo.
Hi, good evening. Anastasia Bachkalupo, West Side Center for Independent Living. Good evening, commissioners. Good evening, staff. Of course, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to review our proposal. We very much enjoyed the visit from staff, so thank you very much for that. Of course, we're humbled by the funding recommendation of $50,000. We did request more. And the reason for that is we really want to enter the city of West Hollywood and really make the impact that we discussed in the proposal. But we understand greatly the funding constraints you're under and really have enjoyed learning so much about the current service providers and the new agencies that join us in this funding opportunity. What I wanted to just emphasize that in our RFP, our proposal, is that in actuality, Westside Center for Independent Living serves all of your primary target populations. There's not one group listed here that we don't serve. We literally could have done as many as there's boxes to check proposals for you. But we understand there are limits. And I just wanted to add that in terms of service providers, we have a different approach. The independent living philosophy is a different approach. It is about being person-centered, person-focused, and self-determination. It is not a medical model. It is not a clinical model. We would like to see, if it's at all possible, to make an increase, if it could be where we saw an increase in the area of about $68,000, Westside Center would figure out a way with its current funding scheme and funders who are on the horizon to match the difference. That would enable us to at least have 3 full-time staff working on this program, which is so important and vital to support the residents of the city of West Hollywood. I'd just like to add that besides service provision, we also provide systemic change advocacy. So we're not just providing services, we're not just answering the phone, we're not just making home modifications, but we're seeing the lack of services, the lack of programs. We interact with other community partners. I'll give you an example right now. We're partnering with UCLA through the Robert Wood Foundation for a study that looks at how the CalMedi Connect program completely failed the citizens of LA County. We work actively on causes like that to make an impactful change so that people with disabilities, irrespective of their age, have access to equality, equal services, and quality services in the healthcare system. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Stephanie Haidal.
Hi, Commissioners, and hi, Corey and Leslie. Hi. We're so excited to be back here. I'm also with the Westside Center for Independent Living with Anastasia. And
Can you just state your name, please?
Yes, I'm Stephanie Heidel, Westside Center for Independent Living, and I am program manager, and I've been there 6 months. And before that, I was working at the federal level, monitoring independent living centers. And so I'm really excited by the programs we have here and that we're offering to West Hollywood. So I wanted to tell you a little bit, some stories that I've seen that I really believe could be mirrored here very easily. So in my prior position with the feds, I was able to see that people are really locked in their homes. Their disabilities, when they're physical, 85% of disabilities are acquired later on in life. Or through life, right? And so our physical spaces that we inhabit, they're not necessarily ready for those, and a lot of people need to change them, and they live trapped in. And so some of the stories that I've seen in our program in Santa Monica that we would like to mirror here, and we request an increase in funding to make sure that that can happen. I'd like to share some with you. So, since my time there, in the 6 months, we funded through the Home Assistance Program at least five ramps, and each of those ramps are ADA compliant, and each of those ramps make a home accessible to a person to come, to go, to exit, to leave, to have visitors, to access their accessible van, and each of those ramps require additional supports. It often requires advocacy with a landlord, working it out, making sure that we get them on the same side before we do any modifications. It means coordinating with the providers who put those in. And so that's what some of the money goes towards, and it's really incredible because each of those ramps cost anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000. So it's like $15,000 for just the 5 ramps that I can recall off the top of my head. Another thing I've seen is stair chair lifts. Where the chair and the seat help someone go up the floor. And so that alone could be $4,000, and that can make a home. If someone's on the 2nd floor, has the 2nd floor, that can make it accessible to them and bring them back to the community and make it possible to really utilize the full space. Also, I've seen people who need door frames that are widened because they're using maybe a scooter, a walker, a wheelchair that doesn't allow them access to their own bathroom. And so it often requires several door frames to be widened because here where I live, my apartment is really tiny. It would need door frames widened, absolutely. And so that requires several door frames to make someone able to take care of themselves and be independent and stay in our home. Roll-in showers to allow someone to be able to clean and maintain personal hygiene. I've also
I'd like to thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jim Chud? Yeah. The mic isn't working.
We got this one. Hi, Jim Chud, citizen of West Hollywood, and having a little trouble today, so I apologize and thank you for bearing with me. First I want to say kudos to you guys for the amount of work you've been doing. I mean, that last meeting was, I didn't last, and I went home and watched more of it, and it was just something else, and I appreciate the amount of effort you put into your work. I was a bit shocked by the fact that Project Chicken Soup was not funded this time. I know that I've been a recipient of all the 3 different food services in this city, and the difference between Project Chicken Soup and the others is phenomenal. I mean, I've spent times when I've been in the hospital for 4 or 5 months at a time, and I come home and for quite a while I can't take care of myself. And so having frozen dinners every night of the week gets a bit, it's depressing. And it's not that the food's bad, it's just that the spice of life is gone. And Project Chicken Soup comes on every other weekend with, this bevy of really good, hot, homemade foods that were just made that morning. And they visit for a minute, and they keep in touch, and they add that personal touch that makes a huge difference to seniors, especially those of us at times who are homebound. And that's, an important part of aging in place is being able to, endure being homebound for stretches of time and still maintain one's, joie de vivre, as it were, and happiness. And I think that, the fact that they've served the community for so many years without any support speaks leagues to their dedication to their cause. And I just think that if we can make it a little bit easier for them to do their work with some funding, that would be an amazing thing. So thank you for listening to me, and hopefully I'll be up there with you guys one day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Robert Gamboa. Is Robert here? Time is up.
So sorry, I was on the phone. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Good evening, Commission. I wanted to say I really appreciate how much time you put in on this. I know it's really hard, and I've seen your process over the last several months. I really love the emphasis on, in all these very critical groups, especially seeing homelessness and substance abuse, and around the aging and LGBT communities. Those are some of the areas that we're focusing on Lesbian Gay Advisory Board. And I also really appreciate staff's additional recommendation of $177,000 for substance abuse. I think that's really important because when I'm working with the community, and what I see is if we're able to help these people into substance abuse treatment, then to me that's a prevention mechanism. It's a prevention tool that we can use to help reduce services in other areas. So we may be able to prevent more homelessness and food pantry needs and other things that we see happen time and time again. So I just wanted to express my gratitude for that, for the recovery community, especially. That's not the LGAB's. This is not the LGAB's intention. This is just me as Robert, and also to invite you to our LGAB meeting on Thursday, because we will be talking about LGBT homelessness as well. So thanks.
Thank you. Jesse Kernberg, Betzedek.
Good evening, Jesse Kornberg, President and CEO, Betzedek Legal Services. I want to use my time to share a story from this morning. Sometimes the universe reaches out and just smacks you upside the head, so I have to share it because it happened today. I got a call from a woman named Capri Maddox. She works at the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office, and so I figured that she was calling me to talk about one of the projects that we work on with her office. In fact, she was calling to tell me about her childhood here in the city of West Hollywood. She grew up in a very unstable environment. Her home life was disrupted because her parents were both addicts, and the gay men who lived in her building at that time filled in the gaps for them when her parents were incapacitated.
I'm just going to get in 1 second just to make sure that she's given permission to share this information.
Yes, don't
Thank
worry.
you.
I'm okay. And she talked to me about how in the late 70s and early 80s, Betzedek was the only agency around that they knew to call when her neighbors were evicted because they had a same-sex visitor. She talked about how then later in the late 80s and early 90s, Betzedek was the only place that they could call when her neighbors would get evicted because they needed accommodation because they were suffering from HIV and AIDS and no longer could make it up the stairs. And she talked about how that experience inspired her to go to law school and to enter public service. And now she's responsible as deputy city attorney for implementing the new minimum wage ordinance, for putting in place new disability protections, and countless other projects. And I just couldn't not share her story with you. She called me to thank me for the work that Betzedek does. And I feel it's incumbent upon me to come here and thank you for the work that you do, because obviously no part of that story would have happened without the partnership that we have together. I'm so grateful that the proposal this year shares a lot of the things that made us helpful to her then. It has that flexibility to be responsive to new emerging needs. That's what the transgender focused attorney is all about. It gives us that flexibility to provide a really wide range of services. So no matter who walks in the door, we can be responsive to that person and meet them where they are. So I just want to thank you. I know how much time went into coming to these recommendations, and we are just so honored and privileged to be a part of this program. I'm going to leave some postcards that have some updates about other new programs in case anyone in the audience has clients to refer to us, and in case anyone else would like to see the news. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Amanda Madaheim, JQ. That's done. This is done.
Hello, my name is Amanda Madahi, and I'm here on behalf of JQ International. I just wanted to thank the staff for being so wonderful when they came to visit us and for the whole process and all the work that you put in. I want to thank you all as well for the meeting that we had last time and for all the work that you guys obviously put in. We were not recommended for funding, and this is not a plea to recommend us for funding. We just wanted to kind of comment on the staff's recommendation that I personally agree with. I think that there were certain challenges in writing this application, especially the fact that the demographic that we were working with wasn't adequately represented in the community study, particularly the Middle Eastern population that was usually made to select themselves as Caucasian. Having this information in the future would not only help our organization, but also future organizations. In addition, looking through the community study, I didn't particularly see a place for religion demographics, and I'm not sure if that's something that the city would want to look at in the future. That would be helpful to us as well. We did not do an adequate job of representing our scope of services. In terms of our engagement, we had around 450 additional people that would be helped with this engagement in the form of educational classes, seminars, and health classes. So we understand why our program looked very expensive. In addition, we're very well aware and thankful to the National Council of Jewish Women and to Jewish Family Services for the work that they do, and we recognize that it's similar to the work that we proposed and that we currently refer to them. The last thing I'd like to say is what makes us different from those organizations is the fact that we do put on very special event programming, like the Out of Iran, Out of the Closet, that we successfully did with the city of West Hollywood, and we would implore, or we look forward to doing more special events, programs like that with the city in the future, and not necessarily through this social services or commission. So thank you all so much, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you very much. Rachel Resnick.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening to staff and to the commissioners. I want to echo the thanks from a lot of our colleagues for everyone's work. Thank you for continuing our funding for our programs. And I really just wanted to highlight our Back to School Store, which is our new program that was included in our RFP this year. Thank you in part to the funding from the city. We've already been able to increase our participants. Last year we had 222 participants in our Back to School Store, which provides kindergarten through 12th grade age students with a brand new top, pants, a week's worth of socks, a week's worth of underwear, shoes, a backpack full of school supplies thanks to JFS. They get haircuts, they have earthquake education, health education, dental education, all in one day at our facility on Fairfax. Last year we had 222 participants, and this year we have over 450 registrants for the day. And we're really excited to have so many participants from the West Hollywood Children's Roundtable sending participants to this event. We thank staff for guiding us through that process, and also to all of the schools and agencies who are served by the city who will be participating as well. And we really look forward to sharing news from that day with all of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Cynthia Chavez.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Chavez, and I'm with Safe Refuge. I'd like to start by thanking the staff for recommending funding for Safe Refuge to provide residential substance abuse treatment services, transitional housing, and other supportive services to West Hollywood community members. We'd also like to humbly request and express our support for staff's recommendation for additional funding for the shared pool of funds for substance abuse treatment services. This additional funding was based on actual funds spent to provide services this past year. We want to ensure an adequate level of funding to prevent any interruption of services for West Hollywood community members in need of housing and substance abuse treatment services, both of which are provided by Safe Refuge. We did face a similar situation this past year, and with the help and support of staff, we were able to mitigate that issue and continue services through the end of the fiscal year. So we'd like to express our thanks and gratitude, and we look forward to continuing providing services to West Hollywood community members. Thank you.
Thank you. Larry Block.
Larry Block, West Hollywood. Thank you all for the great job that you do. We're so lucky to live in a city that has so much budget allocated towards social services. Just a couple of points. First, Project Chicken Soup. I think it's notable that 2 disability board members both spoke to Project Chicken Soup, and Project Chicken Soup was a winner of the Disability Service Award for its fantastic work, best of breed of all nonprofits. Just 2 or 3 years ago, we awarded them with that best of breed nonprofit, and they service as they say, 25% of the residents in West Hollywood. I am a big fan of Project Angel Food. I have spent years and years every Christmas and Thanksgiving at Project Angel Food, but their net is much wider, and it doesn't specifically service West Hollywood residents as much as Project Angel Food. The second thing is St. Thomas. The Disability Board had tried during the health fair to have some service in the city that would focus on eyeglasses and vision. And there's no other organization that we could see that was outreaching into vision care and glasses and free services that's so important. And that deserves such special attention and funding as its own element altogether. The third thing is homelessness. And I think we all know we have a big problem with that. And it's June, and I hope we could tackle that problem, because I personally would like to go to my store on a Sunday morning and not have to ask the homeless guy, are you okay, that's sleeping in front of the store constantly. And finally, just as a total budget, the city revenues have increased by about 6%, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm not exactly right, year over year. And we have had enough money to give raises to city staff and raises to city council members, but the 2% increase may not be enough. There have been too many requests for proposals being denied that might be valuable, and perhaps we need to ask for a 3%, and that 1 point difference can make a big difference to some organizations. So I believe that as a percentage of our budget, we are spending less on social services this year than in years past. And there's no reason why, as a percentage of our budget, it does not say the same as it was last year or the year before, and I'm sure staff can answer that question. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick Watts.
Rick Watts, City of West Hollywood. I'd like to echo part of what Jim Chudd was saying about Project Angel Food. They provide a very important niche service for folks in West Hollywood, as well as the surrounding community, that is not sufficiently met by some of the other providers. But more broadly, to Larry's point about the possible inadequacy of the overall budget for social services, it is no secret that with the ever-rising costs of real estate and housing in West Hollywood, that's taking a big chunk out of a lot of these providers and out of their budgets. And perhaps it's time to consider approaching council, particularly when we're looking at spending $95 million on the park redo, about putting together a project that can house some office space for a number of these organizations to help reduce the needs that they have to pay for office space, and that would free up some space, some money in the budget for the services that are currently not being met in the current funding proposal. So I'd just like to put that in your minds to consider talking to council about that, and also put in my 2 cents in favor of Project Chicken Soup. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have no more speaker slips here. Jeff, are there any there? I'll be closing this hearing. And did you say something?
Okay, hi, I'm Natalie Kimura with Essentia, and I'm sorry, I was wondering what happened with my card.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, well, we had a lot of time together last time, so I don't feel a great need to spend a lot of time talking today, but I just wanted to thank staff for their guidance, and that, and just to say that The cut is something that they talked us through, because of course, anytime you ask for money and then it's cut, you're a little alarmed. But the cuts that staff are recommending for our proposal make a lot of sense, and they're perfectly acceptable to us. I think that if we were to cut any further, then we would have a conversation about what that would mean for the scope of work. But otherwise, apart from the bed nights reduced, the outreach services that we would be providing would not be changed. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any others? Any others? No? Okay, I'll be closing the public hearing. We have no new business, no excluded consent items. Are there any announcements from staff?
Just a few. Mine's very quick. Just a reminder to folks that we do have copies of the Aging in Place Strategic Plan. So a reminder, if people wanted to get a copy of the Strategic Plan Aging in Place, they're still available.
I just have one announcement that the Southern California Men's Medical Group will be having a free vaccination clinic for meningitis on Friday, July 29th, and it's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and it's free regardless if the community member has insurance or not. That's it.
Anything over there?
It's going to be at the Southern California Men's Medical Group, which is on 9201 West Sunset Boulevard. I have the flyers here, and I'll pass those out.
Anything over there? No? Okay, we'll go to items from commissioners. Commissioner Borelli, do you have any remarks?
Sure. Thanks everybody for coming and for sticking around. For those of you who did, I just want you to know you were heard, and we appreciate your time and efforts. One thing that, although I'm not new to the city and not new to being a commission member, but less than a year on this commission, that keeps striking me is the wonderful diversity of the services that we provide and how thoughtful staff and my fellow commissioners are in what the needs are for the community. We have been through a pretty intense process over the past 6 months, hearing from advisory board members and other commissioners and the council, of course, and Aging in Place. And I think it's important that we look at this, the diversity and the broadness of the scope. It's not an easy decision for the staff to make. It's certainly not an easy decision for us. But I also want to say, and I think this is something that I'll be looking at and we'll hopefully get some of my fellow commissioners to work on as well, is our outreach. Because sometimes this comes up in the community and I feel that some education we can do better. Just because it's St. Thomas the Apostle or Jewish Family Services or National Council of Jewish Women does not mean that you as a community member are not invited or entitled to participate and share in those services. I just want to make sure that that's clear. You do not have to be Jewish to get services as a West Hollywood resident or a community member or somebody who works here to get services from these places. Don't let the name scare you off, or don't let the name think that you're not available. And then the other thing that just strikes me is on this topic is, and we're going to be working on this in the future, is making sure that people understand that these services are here to help and provide for the community. And don't be scared to call our social services department and say, I need some help. I'd love to find out what is available for me. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for running some excellent meetings over the last couple months.
Thank you. Ruth?
Just thank you to everybody for your continued dedication.
Not me, I'm next to last, always.
Okay, they passed. It's your turn.
I just wanted to say how much I've been on this commission for several years, although I didn't go through the last RFP process, and how important it was for me to read all of the proposals and how much I learned. And I think that every new commissioner should read the proposals that were submitted by the whatever the current program. So it was really, really enlightening, and I know how hard everybody worked to write them. So thank you.
I just want to thank everyone for coming out again, and I've been around a while, so I know so many of you, and I also understand that we have a limited budget, and there seems like there might be some frustrations, but it has nothing to do with us not wanting to give everybody everything. There's just limits that we have, and staff works really hard, and we work really hard, and hopefully we'll be able to come up with some happy endings here. I think this is my second cycle of funding, and it's a daunting experience, certainly for the providers, and it's a little bit daunting for us. But when I read these proposals, and I know so many of you, and I know so many of your organizations, but I actually read them and see what is happening and who you're serving, and it's just so impressive, the amount of work that all of you do, and I really appreciate it, every single one of you. And I think that's all I want to say. I was going to mention the vaccination, but you took care of that. Thank you very much. If there is nothing else, do I have a motion for adjournment?
Second.
Everyone in favor?
Commissioner Palmieri,
What-
just, excuse me for interrupting, does need to be clarified that we're adjourning to the next special meeting of the commission, or are we good?
Do we need to announce that? No? We're okay? Was there a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much.